Okay, welcome back to the DocOva channel. In this video, we are going to create an actual application from scratch in DocOva so you can see how that's done. So let's get to it. Okay, so to create an application in DocOva, I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch, from zero. I don't think I've seen any other low-code solution that actually does this in a YouTube video or in any video on their website where they actually from scratch, not from a template or anything. We'll turn this into a template and create another application from this app that we create here today. But the idea is to create an application and show you how you could get to prototyping something really quickly in DocOva. So if you think about it, you could go to our website at docova.com, sign up and spin up an instance of DocOva and follow this video, and within the next 30 minutes you could have your own application and have learned a little bit of something about DocOva. Okay, so we're going to show you how easy it is and how easy it is for your team, for citizen developers to get a little bit of training and create your own applications, prototype them, build them, create with your IT team. And for IT guys, how quickly you could throw together an application and meet the needs of your users, and get interface and stuff out of the way really quickly so that you can focus on those nitty-gritty things that really so you get away from being the IT black hole. Okay, so let's get going. So when you first start in DocOva, again, I've talked about this, you get the getting started widget, and this is sort of what the initial workspace looks like when you sign up for DocOva. You'll see that there's a create application option in the getting started, and if you click on that, it will go to our website and show you a page about how to create an application, and so it shows you a little snippets of how to do it. We're going to do exactly this right now. Okay, in the top left hand corner of the screen, you just click on the create application button and you get this dialog, and we're going to create a simple application, just like contacts on your phone or whatever. We're just going to create a contacts application. Everybody can understand that. So we're just going to do a contacts app. So we're going to give it a title called Contact Demo, or let's say Contacts Demo. And in DocOva, you also have to give it a description. And then, so we're just going to do that. And then you pick a color. We're just going to stay with the blue right now, and we're going to pick a little icon. You have a whole bunch of icons you can search here to give to your application. Since this is just an icon contacts database, we're just going to use this simple icon here. We'll just keep the color, and we'll click on the create button, and that's it. You can see you get a little progress showing you that it was creating the application. And so on the left hand side, you can see that the contacts demo application has shown up. So if I click on it, we're going to just go right into it. That's how easy it is. We've created an application. It's got nothing in it yet, but we've done that. So all the back-end database tables and stuff like that, they're being created. There's nothing you have to do except design, prototype, create, build. So we got a layout here. It's just a single pane layout with nothing defined in it yet. So let's go do that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the application menu here. We're going to go to the app builder. The app builder is the application design interface. And I'll move my little picture over here so you can see I already have a whole bunch of applications that I've had open in my app builder. You can hit the little X there and remove them at any time. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into the contacts demo here, and we're going to define a layout first. So layout's just the way the application looks the first time you come into it. You can have multi-layouts. You can have layouts for different groups and roles, so that when the application's open, it looks different for different people if you want. But we're just going to create a simple layout here. So the first thing we're going to do is name it. We're just going to call it main. And we're going to say this is the default layout for the application just by checking that checkbox. And you can see here I just have two simple panes. On the left, we're going to put a menu. And on the right-hand side, this is going to be our initial welcome page, or probably in this case, we're just going to create a welcome, the initial view of data that we're going to have. Okay, so then I'm just going to save and close this. And you can see here that we now have our first main layout. And so now when I open up, I go back to my workspace and click on the Contacts demo application that we're creating, and you can see now we have the two panes. One's going to be the menu, the right-hand side is going to be where probably initial view goes. Okay, so let's go back to the app builder and let's create a menu. So we're going to create the main menu for this application. I'm going to click New Menu. And here we're going to say, you have all kinds of options that you can click on. So we have horizontal and vertical menus that you can choose from that cascade in different ways, that have different colors. So you can see here that you can pick from a whole bunch all the way down here to like icon only type of menus. And you'll see the horizontal ones here as well. So those are more drop down. So if you put a menu across somewhere in your application, that those items drop down and so on. So what we're going to do is just in the vertical menu, I'm just going to pick this blue one right here, simple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an icon, the icon that we use to create the application into this menu, and also the name of this application I'm going to put in the menu too, and you'll see why. But right away I have a few menu options here that are empty. And so I'm just going to go in and I'm going to delete this one. And I'm just going to add a new one at the same level. So the top header one, I'm going to take the text out of it. And instead, I'm going to say that it's a spacer. So this means that it doesn't have any functionality in terms of opening up another layout or opening a form or opening a view or anything like that. It's just part of the layout of the menu. Menus are also embeddable into pages and forms, and so you could put a form in there, or you could put a page and then embed a menu into it and stuff like that. We'll go into much more detail with menus in a subsequent video. But for now, we're going to pick our icon here. And you can see that automatically in the top menu item, it's right justified. So I'm going to give it a size. So you see it's 18 pixels here. I'm going to change this to 42. And yeah, because I know that 42 is the size to use for this video. Something that you learn when you're doing your app. Oh, sorry, I want to come back to this, and I'm going to center it. So this is just centering the icon, and then I'm going to change the height of this menu item. So see, that's a little bit high right now. I don't need all that room. I'm just going to say 30 pixels. Oh, sorry, 30 pixels for the height. Okay, this 30 pixel size here, which I don't need because it is for the text in the menu item. So we're going to do that to the next item. So we're going to say that the menu here is 22 pixels, and see how menu item has grown here. So now I'm going to come up here and say that this is Contacts Demo, right? And then I'm going to go to the style, and I'm going to center this to be Contacts Demo, right? And then for this menu item, I'm going to come here and I'm going to say contacts, like this. I'm also going to make the style of this, the size of this text is going to be 18 pixels. And then the size of my sub item here, I'm going to make, let's say, 14 pixels, just to make it look nice. And then I'm going to add another item under here, so it knows to add another sub item underneath. So this item up here, we're going to say contacts by last name. Let's just do that, right? And then for this one, let's say contacts by company. And we'll show you what this looks like once it gets going. I'm going to change the style of this to be, what I say, this 14 as well. All right, so now I have this menu that just kind of looks like this, right? Now I could add more, so I could add another one, and in the properties, I could outdent it, right? So if I go like that, it puts it at this level for me again, right? So I could say, 18, and this is some other, I'm going to say other level, in the menu, whatever. So you'll see what that looks like. So let me add one more thing under here, just as a placeholder, okay? Just so you can see the creation idea of a menu. And I've indented it so it knows it's a child to this one, so it knows it needs to expand or collapse the structure in here. So it's nice, really easy for you to put in a hierarchy of menu items. And so let's go in here and just say 14. And I'm just going to leave, I'm going to say option 1 or something here for the label text, just for now, just to show you. Option 1. Okay, so just so you can see how easy it is, and we'll go into menus in much more detail again in a subsequent video. Okay, so I'm going to call this main menu. Is the name here that I put in the top right hand side here, and then I'm going to save this. So now I've got my main menu application. I can open it up and edit it easily, right? But now we're going to go over to the layout again that we created, and we're going to put the menu into the layout. So I'm going to open up this layout called main. If you remember, we called it that. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to shrink this down a little bit, just because I know actually, and you'll learn. And then I'm going to move this over. Just because I know this isn't what you see is what you get. It's more what you see is what you, I think you call it what you mean is what you get. But I'm going to click on this left-hand pane over here. And in the right-hand side, I'm going to say that the default target is frame 2, so the other frame. So anytime I click on the menu, it's going to target opening whatever I tell it to open over into this frame. And in here, I'm going to say that I want to open a menu. So see how the content, I can select a menu, a view, a page, a layout, or a form. I'm going to pick a menu. I have the main menu. If you had several menus, you could pick which one you're going to open. I only have the one here, so it's main menu. And you can do other things here. Again, we'll go into this in more detail in subsequent videos. Suffice it to say here I have my layout and I've put the menu now in the left-hand side. So let's go and look at the application. So I'm going to go back to my workspace tab and I'm going to open up the application again. And now you can see that I have this menu on the left-hand side and I can expand it and I have these items. So when I click on by last name, I want to open up like a by last name view, say. But to do that, what we're going to do first is we're going to create the contact form so that we can get some data into this application. Okay, so let's go back into the app builder. I'm going to go to my forms. And what we're going to do is create a new form. And in this form, we're going to call it, we're going to put like some text at the very top called contacts. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to add, I'm going to give click on the form here, see up at the top right, the form name. I'm going to call this form name contacts. Just get that out of the way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the elements. Now, all of these elements on the right-hand side here are elements that I can drag and drop onto my form. And in order to do this, what I'm going to do is just to lay out stuff, and I like to use tables, so I'm going to drag a table over. And we're going to have a whole bunch of subsequent videos on all of these menu items on the right-hand side here, going through what you can do with all of them, right? Embedded views and all the different types of input elements that you can add to your forms. Okay, so for the contacts now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the style, and we're going to talk about forms and what the tabs on the side are in subsequent video. There's a lot more to know about forms and what's all possible with forms. We're just doing this in the contacts really quickly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that I'm going to change the font here to like what 28, 30. What are we going to do? 28. Okay, so 28, and I'm going to change the color of my contacts thing there to be what, like blue. Let's make it that blue. Same blue as the whole application is, just because. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some rows here. So I'm just going to pen rows. So I think, and I'm going to pull this down. So this is so a page can have, or a form can have panes of information too. I'm just making it one pane here, so you just saw me drag that down. And up here, we're going to put in let's do first last name, like that. And then I'm going to tab and I'm going to say first name. Now you can lay this out however you want. I'm going to add one more column here. Insert another row. What do I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. What do I got? Okay. So in here, I'm going to say organization. And in that organization information, I'm going to say like your company name and stuff like that. I'm going to put phone. And I have a little sheet here of my planning of, before I create this app, I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a contacts form for the demo. And we're going to put in phone numbers and we're going to put in the person's email. Okay, and then to lay this out, and also what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the style of this to like bold these things. So these are like labels in your application, right? And then for last name, I'm going to come over here and so last name is just going to be a text field. So I'm just going to drag text over. So see this text element, I'm just dragging it on. And you can see the cursor on the screen. So you can go and drop this anywhere. And I'm going to just drop it right in here. And I'm going to say last name. This is a field name. Fields can only be, one, they can have spaces. So that's last name. Now I'm going to drag and drop in first name here. Now you can lay this out any way that you want. You can put last name, first name at the top beside each other. You don't have to use a table to lay it out. I like to use tables to lay things out just because they're already responsive, and so that it's just a nice way to organize your information. We'll go into tables in more detail and subsequent apps as in these earlier videos. I'll be saying we're going to do subsequent videos a lot. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to also add another table inside this table. So I'm dropping a table into a cell in this other table to help me put out organize the information again. And in here, I'm going to insert 2 rows. Now let me just put company in here. And then for this one, we're going to put in, job title. All right, well, we'll bold these ones too, just because we could color them. You can see all the styling over here that you could do. So all the borders, padding, margins, add your own CSS, blah, blah, blah. Also, I'm going to remove this. We'll go into the details about this. Notice I can resize the table to here in terms of, how close they come, you can resize your columns and stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the phone numbers because there's a few phone numbers that you could have, right? And we've got 3 here, so I'm going to insert a couple of rows. I'm going to take out this top spacer up there. And what do we got here? We got mobile and home and work, I guess. Okay, and then we'll bold these just so they stand out. Good. And you could make them red to make them stand out or whatever you want. Again, it's about your creativity and how you want to, put your application together. And then down for the email, I think I'm outside of the table now. I am. So I'm going to add one more row. I'm going to append another row here, and I'm going to put email up here. Just because this email label that I've put in here is below the table where I am. So I'm in the table now, and we'll bold this one too. And then we'll drag and drop over some text into this, and we'll call this one email. That's the name of that one. And then we're going to go ahead and drop in, fields for this. So company, we'll call this one, and then we'll drag this for the top job title, The lighting might be changing in this room here. There's quite a storm going on outside right now. So if you're seeing the lights start coming, and I'm losing kind of daylight because it's raining a bit. But okay, here is the mobile phone. I'm just clicking on it, changing the field name in the top. So you can see how easy it is for me to add fields here just by dragging and dropping. I can also type the field name right into the field there. I just happen to prefer doing it up in the top right under the properties there. So I'm dragging in now, and now the work phone. Right, maybe I should have called them work phone or something, whatever you want to call them. You can come back and change the name at any time, right? So the idea here is that what we've done is we've created a form here now that we can add and use for capturing and viewing data, okay? So I'm going to save this form. We called it contacts, or let's just call it contact form. And we're gonna change this to contact too, because it's just a form for capturing one contact, right? Let's save and close it. Okay, so we didn't have to do anything with database tables or anything like that. Again, all we did was we created a form. All those fields and everything will be stored into a backend database, and so you don't have to worry about it at all. Okay, so now I'm going to create a view. The view is where we're going to see our data records or documents, as we call them in DocGova, and you'll see that. And we're going to create a few. Okay, so I'm going to create a new view here now in the views design elements. And in here, I'm gonna call the view contacts. We're gonna say contacts by last name. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just when we show the contacts in this particular view, we're gonna show them by last name because that's what we did in the menu. And we're going to create another view, and we're going to sort by company, right? So, so I think we said in the menu that was by company, right? So, so let's say contacts. I'm just going to go like this: by dash last name, like that. Oops. See my spelling mistakes or my mistypings here, but this is real. This is a true creation of an application with all the warts. So you can see exactly what it takes to create an application. No marketing fluff or anything. It's just reality. Okay, so I created the view, and now I'm going to add columns. So I go up to the top here, and I'm going to add a couple of columns. So what we're going to do is we're going to put like last name, first name, I guess company, and maybe the mobile phone. You can put them all in here in the columns, but let's just start with that. Okay, so in the view, if I go back to the view here, you can say select documents manually. So this is where you can put in like filtering criteria that, for example, it's kind of, well, we'll get into view creation in much more detail. You can have formulas, or you can pick a form. So here, the view selection type, I'm going to say a form. I only have one form in this app right now, which is the contact form. So we're going to pick it. And DocGova is smart enough to know that once you've picked the form, it can make the fields available for you in order for you to create the columns. So I'm going to say to use the contact form that we created, so that when I come over here and I click on this column that we created, I'm going to put in a title at the top here called last name, like that. And then down here, I'm going to say form fields. And it knows what I selected for this view, so now it gives me a listing of all the fields that I created on that form. So I'm going to pick last name for this column because that's what we're using. I can also, as you can see at the top here, I can resize the column just by dragging the width. And let's add a couple more. Okay, so we'll put in first name like that. And we are going to say form fields and use first name. And then we're going to use here, we added, so I've appended or inserted the fields instead of appended the columns here. That's okay. All you have to do is drag the column over. That wasn't planned. That wasn't planned A, right? So then first name. So what I'm going to do is select first name and drag it over. I want last name, first name, and then we'll do like, let's do job title. And the form fields, we're going to pick job title. And then, so here's my append to the end. There you go. And then company, we'll put in form fields, pick the company. And then the last one we'll do is the phone number. Right? So we'll just say mobile in this particular case. Now you can put all of these fields in, like I say, or not. Of course, this is just a demonstration, so we're going to put mobile number in there. Okay, so company name. So you can resize these, whatever makes sense. You know, some job titles are long, some people's names are long, what have you. And the mobile. And so you can come back here and modify this easily. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to create a couple of action buttons, or they're already, so we'll create a couple of action buttons for this. Right, so I'm going to add one action to this application, to this view. And this is going to be to create new contact documents, or to use the contact form. So notice how I've added the actions here, and I can give it a label, and I'm going to call, but before I do that, I'm going to just say the type is custom. I'm going to say create new document. And it's going to say, oh, well, do you want to use a form? So I'm going to say use the contact form, right? And then you see that it says create contact for me, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say create new contact. Okay, so there you can see that it's generating the code for you. Again, you're just drag and dropping the components onto DocOva here, and it's going to generate all the code that manages everything in the background for you. Okay, so let's save this form, or sorry, this view that is using the contacts form. And then let's go over to the menu, and we're going to tell the menu to open up this view. Right, so if you remember, we're going to go back to the main menu here, and remember it was by last name, the menu item. So we're going to go over to the right-hand side here, and we're going to say open up a view, and it's going to give us a list of views, and right now we just have contacts by last name, which matches what we put here. Okay, lots of other items there. We'll go over those in later videos. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use this view as our opening view for the application in our layout. So we're going to go back to the layout, open up that main layout, and we already have the menu on the left-hand side. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to say that we're going to use a view, and the view that we're going to open up is contacts by last name. Okay, so you can see that it's opening up the structure for that view for me. So let's save and close that. So now what we've done is we created a form, we created a view where we can start creating records or documents in this application using the contact form. And we've hooked up the menu now to open up that view. Okay, so now we open up the contacts demo application and see where we are. Okay, so now what we have is it's opened the contact by last name for us, right? And we have the last name field and the by company. And we're going to create the by company view as well. But first of all, let's go ahead and let's create some contacts in this application, right? So imagine in a few minutes now, we've created this application. We didn't have to fool around with the back-end relational database or anything like that. And we're creating contacts in it, okay? So right away, I'm gonna put myself in. So here's John, Ryan, John, and we're going to say DocOva Inc. It's not actually true, but there you go. Let's say CTO. And my mobile number is this. This is truly my mobile number, so if you want to give me a call, go ahead. Okay, and then these other numbers, I'm just going to copy these in to save time here. In my email, John Okay, now it's easy for me. If I wanted to, I could go in here and we could add, maybe we'll do that at the end. We'll add some lines to make the form look a little bit better and stuff like that. Of course, you can go crazy and make these forms look however you want. I also used text labels like last name, first name, organization, and stuff like that. You can use placeholder text, which means that those labels can be right in the field. So first name can be right in the field. So some people, that's a more contemporary way of labeling your fields. We also have an animated version of that. So when you put placeholder text like last name right into the field, and when you click into it, it moves last name up in the field as you type it in. So there's different looks that you can go for. It's all pre-canned for you to decide on how you want your application to look. Okay, so we've done this now. Let's save this. And you'll see by default, now we have this record right here. So you can see last name Ryan, first name John, CTO, DocGova Inc., and my mobile number. And I can double click on that to open it up and see that record for me. One thing to note too in DocGova is that we have these documents and we have a read mode and an edit mode, so that we define who can read information and who can edit information in DocGova. And so you can see that this application is opening up this information in read mode. I can't edit any of this data right here until I click on this edit button. And then it puts this form into edit mode and I can edit the data, right? So we have that distinction and you can play around with that. We'll go through that again in more detail in subsequent videos about, it's very deep how you can get into read mode and edit mode and base your formulas and stuff like that on that information. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and as part of creating this application, I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to actually create some real data in here, right? And so it's going to be just rudimentary information. And we'll just put in numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, like that for phone numbers and stuff. Of course, you would put real data in this, but just to fill it out so that we can see what this really looks like and really how long this takes, right? At acme.com, I guess, right? And we'll just create like 10 different contacts here. Let's do Mary White. Oh wait, last name first. White, Mary. You know what? We're going to make the same company name as I have. We can also have this dynamically look up. So as you enter data, these company names become available for you to choose. And we'll go through that as well in the future, in future or subsequent videos again, how you can dynamically have drop downs. So as you add data, your drop downs become hydrated, for example, right? Hydrated meaning, they grow. That data becomes available immediately for you to be able to use, for example. Okay, so let's say mary@docgova.com. And maybe we'll speed up this part of the video, but it's not fair, right? You want to see how long it really takes to create some stuff here. Okay, we're going to call it Steve Black from HP Corp. Job title, manager, say, mobile. Do I already have something in here? I do. Okay, so we're going to just copy and paste just dummy data, right? And then Steve at HP. Oh, thunder. Do you hear that in the background? And the reason why I'm creating a couple of records here, and I can use my cursor keys and stuff in my browser to go up and down. And I can hit enter to open up that document and so on. Okay, and let's create at least one more. Let's say we have Steve. Let's do David Red. because I'm just doing colors. Let's say he's from Gartner. Gartner. Title, let's say advisor. And again, we'll just dump in some data here. Email, dave@gartner.com. And so on. All right, so we have a little bit of data in here, so now we can go back and look at any of these by hitting enter. We can edit them and so on. So let's go and do the by company view, and then we'll just hook that up. So I'm going to go back to the app builder. I'm going to go into views. Now I could go through and I could recreate a view from scratch here. Or one cool thing about .gova is I can copy this and I can paste it. And you'll see that it made a copy of this view for me. Because I'm going to keep the same columns, just helps me do this a little bit more quickly. But this is now going to be called, I'm going to say, contacts by company. Right, is going to be the name of this view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that company field. I'm going to drag it over to the front. And I'm going to go into the front here and I'm going to sort it, ascending. I'm going to categorize it and say that it's ascending. Okay, so I kept everything the same, except what I did was I resorted this just by the company name. Okay, and then I'm going to save and close that. So that's how fast I created a new view. All of the views are also filterable by default, but really this allows you to organize your information in different views a lot easier. All I'm going to do here is I'm also going to sort last name, just ascending, just because you kind of should sort your data. Don't have to, of course, but I like to make sure that all my views have some kind of sorting to them. And then we're going to go into the menus. And we're going to go to the by company, and we're going to say that we're going to open up a view, and the view we're going to open up is the by company view. Right, so now we've hooked up this menu item, and I'm going to save and close it. So now we've created a view and hooked it up to another, to one of the menu items. And let's go back into the application. So go back into the app. And we don't have to have the menu items here automatically collapsed. You can open up the app with one of them automatically, all of it expanded, or one of the categories expanded, for example. But by default, we come to the by last name view, and we can switch it over to the by company view. And you can see here that we have the view of information sorted by company and categorized by company. So I can shrink these up and expand them and just see who's from this company. Again, that view can be opened up with all the categories pre-expanded or all the categories collapsed for you, for example. And so there's a whole bunch of videos coming about views and everything that you can do about views in terms of changing the colors, the fonts, totals, calculations, and so on and so forth. But anyway, so there you go. We've created an application. It's a contacts application. We've created a form that can capture information into it, and you can edit that information, and so forth. And so we've created a simple application that's been a few minutes. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this application called Contacts Demo, and I'm going to go to the properties. And in the properties, I'm going to say, see how it says is template right here? And we're going to say yes. We're going to say that this contact demo database is a template. And I want to do this because I've seen somebody create, a low-code solution out there, create an application from a template, claiming that that's how fast you can create an application, which isn't really true. So I'm going to save and close this. So now what we're going to do with our contacts demo application that we created is we're going to create another contact demo app based on that contact demo or using that contact demo app as a template. So here we go. We're going to create a new app. We're going to call it Contacts 2. and contacts to from contacts demo, just to show that. And I'm just doing this because I see a couple other websites where they're using a template to create an app, which isn't really fair. You should create a whole application, but just to show you, I just turned what we created into a template, and I'm going to use that template to create another application. So use template, come down here, contacts demo. We're just going to bring the design. We're not going to bring in the documents. And then this here, design changes. You can inherit future template changes. So if you made changes to the core template, so contacts demo, it would come to the applications that you used that template for. It would be updated as well. Okay, so we're just going to create that. So I created that new application based on our other copies. So now on the left-hand side, you can see that I have the Contacts 2 application built from the Contacts demo application. And if I open that up, you'll see that it's just the same. Keep trying to get a hold of me. It's just the same application. So that's how quickly you can turn it into a template and then create. So this sometimes works for projects where you have the same structure, but you want it. So you might. We had a client that was that built buildings, and so they wanted one project database or application for each building that they built. So they built this whole application, and then when they get a new building to build, they just create a new application called that building and use their application for that, so that they had all these applications that are separate, different access control, different project managers and stuff like, and contractors using them, and just they could split it up easily like that and use those templates. It's really great for discussion too. You can use discussion templates and have team discussions on different projects and whatever, and quickly create those. Anyway, so how much time did that take? Not too bad. That's about how long really it takes to create a demo. I did that in 45 minutes with explanation to it. Simple, but still did it in about 45 minutes overall. And I would say that the creation was more like maybe 25 minutes or so. So imagine you come to DocOva.com, you sign up and create a DocOva instance. Let me get my back to big screen here. You come to DocOva.com, you sign up and spin up an instance of DocOva. Follow this video to create your own application. Start fooling around. It's got everything you need to start your, in within a half an hour, within an hour, you could create your own application. All right, and so that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video and found it informative, please consider subscribing, like it, hit the notifications bell to be notified of new videos when we post them. All right, that's it for today.